this is gonna be kind of like an intermission. So because what I anticipate, a lot of what I can anticipate by some viewers is going to be like typical normie shit, you know, where people are going to be like, well, you know, you should never hang out with somebody like that. You know, you should know better, la la la, all this stuff. And so I need to kind of go into some background about me. So, okay, and again, I'm going to be talking about stuff that I normally wouldn't, but because I only have 3 subscribers, I feel okay talking about this kind of stuff. So I'm going to bring up, first and foremost thing that if people know about me, if people know this about me, it kind of helps clear up some possible like misunderstandings about me. So first and foremost thing about me that is like the number one thing in my life, that is like the most important thing, more important than pretty much anything else about me, is that I'm a clean and sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I've been clean and sober for 23 years almost. It'll be 23 years next month. And so you know, so that's something that sets me apart from a lot of people. Like, you probably don't know very many people that have been a clean and sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous for 23 years, that like goes to meetings and sponsors people and blah, blah, blah. So that's one of the first things you should know about. And then, but in contrast to this, because you might think, well, somebody that's clean and sober for 23 years, they're just kind of a milquetoast type person that's just lives kind of a boring, mundane life. And see, that's where one of your misconceptions could take place, is because I'm been a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous for 23 years. You know, why would I be getting mixed up with people like this? So this is what you don't know about me, is even though I am what I am, 23 years and all that, I am not a conventional type of person in any sense of the word. Like, I have been in all kinds of bands, and in the bands I've been in, everyone else were drug addicts or you know, abused hard drugs, and we played many shows with other bands that are alcoholics and drug addicts, including the Mentors and Anal Cunt and you know, the Murder Junkies, Gigi Allen's band, the Murder Junkies. Like, so I'm not like the conventional sober person. Even though I don't drink or do drugs, I live life on the firing lines. Many people that don't drink or do drugs, they live very different lives than I do. I am a thrill seeker. I don't believe in conventional lifestyles or any of that shit. I've always been on the firing lines of life. I want to play in fucking crazy extreme bands and play shows at fucking dive bars with a bunch of alcoholics and drug addicts and be completely sober and do all this stuff. So I've always been that way. Even in my teens, before I got sober, I've always been like a crazy motherfucker. I've always been an unconventional person. And on top of that, I've experienced very insane shit that your average person can't even imagine. Can't even imagine the insane shit that I have seen. A lot of insane shit in my life, which is why this event that I'm storyboarding is so bizarre to me, because I have seen more insane shit than your average person. Like, I've seen a massive amount of insane shit and experienced a lot of insane shit been around a lot of insane people, a lot of insane drug addicts all my life. But I have never seen anything like this event that I am trying to illustrate. So the reason I want to do this, explain this, is because I can anticipate people's questions. They're going to be like, well, why would you be hanging out with somebody like that and stuff? And all this kind of shit. Well, okay, so like the bands that I played in, I mean, these buddies of mine that I was in bands with, they fucking had satanic tattoos but they weren't like Satanists that I knew of. And I would never imagine them to be. But see, that's the thing. So I'm starting to reevaluate a lot of stuff. I've even formed my own bands that could be perceived as satanic, but we weren't. My band wasn't. The songs were just about occult stuff. That didn't mean that I believe in occult stuff. It's just that that's what the songs were written about. And it was like Black Sabbath influenced songs, and the lyrics, I wrote all the songs and all the lyrics, and it was just like a tribute to a Black Sabbath type of band, only it was all original songs, and the songs were all about occult stuff like witchcraft and stuff. But I didn't believe in any of that. It was just an art form. That was the art. But see, now looking back, I see how when you start fucking with shit like that, it does creep in. It does, you know. And I can talk about that in some other series of videos. And also, you know, I worked in the homeless service provider field for 10 years, and I've always had a big heart for the downtrodden, the underdog, like people that are being picked on and people that are suffering, like homeless people, homeless elderly, homeless vets, you know, homeless youth, you know, like the downtrodden, the underdogs. I've always been extremely passionate about helping people that need fucking help, that everybody's ignoring. So these are the main things about me. Number one, I'm totally abstinent from all drugs and alcohol. Like, that's the most important thing. And then music. I've always been into fucking metal, punk, rock and roll, all kinds of, and the more extreme, the better. I've played with insane bands like fucking G.G. Allen's The Murder Junkies, The Mentors, you know, The Mentors, Find 'em, Feel 'em, Fuck 'em, Forget 'em, Anal Cunt, all kinds of crazy fucking bands. I've always been around them kind of bands, and the bands that I played in were crazy. Extreme Noise Terror. That's like the equivalent of playing a show with fucking Napalm Death, dude. Only Extreme Noise Terror is better than Napalm Death. Extreme Noise Terror started the whole fucking that subgenre of fucking of metal. You know, so I've been around a lot of insane shit, and I've always been able to maintain my abstinence from drugs and alcohol, as well as maintained like a healthy kind of balance in my life. It's just an unconventional approach to life I've always taken. So abstinence from all drugs and alcohol, 23 years, major into music and being around playing with crazy people and being in bands with crazy people with fucking, you know, pentagram tattoos on them and just insane environments like that, and maintaining my, you know, abstinence from drugs and alcohol, and being a hardcore like fighter for the underdog, where fuck you, I will fight to protect the underdog. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You can call me a Nazi, you can call me a fucking communist, you can call me whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I will fight to protect the underdog and the downtrodden, and I don't give a fuck what your story is in opposition to where I stand on that. I don't care. I don't fucking care. And so that was my motivation for helping her. It's like, I stand up for people that are being exploited, and fuck you. I don't care what you think of me. That's what I do, and that's what I'm going to do. And I will fucking die on that hill, and I don't give a shit what you think about me. and I'm totally into music, and I like Anal Cunt and fucking Gigi Allen and The Mentors and Extreme Noise Terror and Napalm Death and all this crazy shit. I'm into all that crazy shit. But first and foremost, I am totally in love with abstinence from drugs and alcohol and recovery. Like, that is my number one objective over everything else. I can't do music. I can't be a person who stands in defense of the underdog and the downtrodden if I'm not abstinent from drugs and alcohol. So abstinence from drugs and alcohol is first and foremost. But so this might help kind of explain some of these questions where people are like, well, why were you hang out with somebody who has a Necronomicon tattoo? Only because I'm used to being around those people. Like, I've been in bands with people like that for a long fucking time, and maintained a healthy abstinence from all drugs and alcohol, and healthy relationships with all kinds of other people, doctors. I have close friends that are fucking doctors. I have close friends that work for the FBI. I have close friends that are CEOs of fucking corporations, including I have friends that are homeless, and friends that are middle class. So I don't need to be judged. I don't care what people think of me. I really don't. I don't need to take in the judgment of someone who would be like, well, why would you be hanging out with the girl that has a Necronomicon tattoo? Well, only because I know all kinds of people. I associate with all different kinds of people, from FBI agents to Hell's Angels to CEOs of corporations, to homeless people, to middle class people, to working class people. I don't judge. I'm not into all that shit like you might be. I don't care. Like I said, I have friends I played in bands with that had fucking pentagram tattoos and all that shit, and they were never satanic, or if they were, they hit it very well for me. I don't know. Just because someone has a pentagram tattoo, does that mean they're satanic? I don't think so. Now, I'm a lot more wary of them after this event that happened to me 2 years ago, but that's why. I didn't really see the Necronomicon tattoo and all this other shit that kept piling up and piling up. At the time, I didn't really see. And even like her behaviors and things that were going on could easily be attributed to her just being a traumatized person who's been exploited by evil fucking people for a lot of her life. That would explain a lot of this stuff. I didn't foresee it as what 2.5 years later came out to be like something completely different than what I had assumed. So this kind of just is kind of, because like I said, I can already anticipate these questions. Why would you hang out with somebody who had a Necronomicon tattoo? Well, why couldn't you tell? Why couldn't you see all these red flags? You're describing all this stuff and it all just sounds like red flags to me, and I'm telling you. Like, the red flags, a lot of the red flags of her behavior could be attributed to her trauma from abuse and all this kinds of abuse and trauma. And also, like, I keep reiterating, her behavior was always like meek, shy, soft-spoken, timid, all these things that they just don't. That doesn't compliment a person who's a satanic witch. It just doesn't. A psychopath? Yeah. Can psychopaths pull it off? Yeah. Do I have a lot of experience with psychopaths? Absolutely not. And even narcissism and narcissists. This is my first encounter with a full-blown narcissist. Like a full-blown chronic narcissist, but it's beyond narcissism. It's like psychopathy. I don't know how to detect psychopathy. That's why serial killers get away with murdering hundreds of people before they're caught, because that's a psychopath is like a master of disguise. So did I know that her presenting herself as meek and quiet and shy and timid and frail and soft-spoken, that I know that this is just a psychopath that's mastered the art of deception? How would anybody know? If people knew how to detect that shit, you wouldn't have serial killers getting away with mass murder and shit. Not all serial killers, not all psychopaths are serial killers, but all serial killers are psychopaths. Psychopathy is not something to fuck with, even if they're not a serial killer. Like, you have no idea what the fuck you're getting into. I mean, just even narcissism is you do not want to fuck with these narcissist people. Will turn your entire life completely upside down overnight, and not even bat an eye. You know, we're talking about apathy and shit like this. You know. But no, I'm not an expert on psychopathy and narcissism and all this stuff. And so, and like I said, I've been around these kind of people all my life, you know. Bunch of my sober friends, they were crazy back in the day and got pentagram tattoos, and now they're talking about Jesus in the meetings and stuff. You can't tell a person just because they have a fucking pentagram tattoo that means they're a bad person. I've met way too many people that have tattoos like that are the most decent people you'll ever meet in your fucking life. So to just judge someone because they have a fucking Necronomicon tattoo the size of a small dinner plate on their back, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could, but it doesn't necessarily mean, it could mean nothing, or it could mean every fucking thing. But so yeah, and I've been around these kind of people all throughout my sobriety and recovery, and playing in bands with people that are you know, that they partake in crazy drugs, and maybe they're addicts or not, I don't know. But I played in bands with them, and they're fucking cool ass fucking people, and you know, and also like working in the homeless service provider field, and trying to, you know, you know, being down for a lot of times underdogs have these same type of appearances and these same type of trauma, that they're underdogs. They're just people who've been dealt a bad fucking deal in life, and everybody kicks them when they're down, and there's no justice in that. And I'm all about justice for the underdog. And so these same characteristics apply to all kinds of people that I love, you know, is the same characteristics that she presented to have. You know, totally traumatized, fucking crazy tattoos, you know, in fucked up situations where they need help, you know. So that just kind of hopefully kind of clarifies some of the anticipated questions that I might be getting asked by normies that are going to try to judge me and be like, well, why would you even hang out with her after seeing that tattoo? And why would you have sex with her? You know, and all this shit. And so that's just going into who I am, a little bit about me, to kind of help try to explain, and that I'm not perfect, you know. You know, I mean, you know, put yourself in my shoes if you can, you know. So anyways, whatever.